Hello guys, welcome back to Rust and Wash. I am Miguel, and on today's video I want you to stay until the end because I have something quite exciting that is gonna hit you with a nostalgia break. I have some miniature rescues that will surely bring some memories back, and which I honestly believe they are the best ogres Games Workshop has ever released in plastic. I finally obliged to several requests from you guys on how to paint ogres, so you could do that for your Heroquest against the Ogre Horde expansion. I wanted to get some of my own, so I tried doing what every sensible YouTuber will do in this case, which is going to eBay and trying to find myself a copy so I could see if I can afford one of these copies. And honestly, with the YouTube money that I have, the prices did not agree with my wallet at all. Scary, eh? Huh? In this video, I will not only paint these nice miniatures. Oh no, I will also show you how to paint the easiest rust out there. Easy, very easy, I promise. Don't believe me? Stay with me and tell me if I'm a liar. Let's go! These minis are made of soft polystyrene plastic. As technologue, I have no idea, I'm not a chemist. Some people hate it, I personally love it. It is almost indestructible, but I can see why some people might have a problem with it. The plastic is very bendy and is very difficult to work with if you want to clean the mold lines. Now, for these you will just need a sharp knife. Don't be afraid, just cut them off. Be careful not to cut any fingers because you will need them.
'Tis but a scratch.
I base my miniatures on 40 by 40 millimeter bases, squares, because I think I'm gonna use them besides my Warhammer Quest and Heroquest games. I'm probably gonna end up using them for Warhammer Fantasy in one way or another. If you don't have this kind of bases, squares for life, I'm gonna tell you something. You can find links below to find any size of square bases from Amazon, and that helps the channel tremendously. We will use different sizes of pebbles and sand, and super glue will do the trick here because we really want to start painting these guys. Alright, now that everything is dry, let's get to priming. I personally use a spray paint because I believe if you are on a tight budget for minis, you probably cannot afford an airbrush, and on top of that you don't need the space to prepare, clean and paint with an airbrush. Let's try a couple of different settings for the priming here. For one I will use dark gray with a zenithal light gray, and the other one will just be plain light gray. I want to see which one I like best. The minis are now ready and it's time to give them some love. First, rust. Do you want to create a nice rust effect in your minis? There is only one single trick for this. Rust has 4 colors: a reddish brown, a bright orange, a dark blue or purple, and a light metallic. Too simple, you say? It is. I just taught you the biggest secret to doing this. You can skip all the other tutorials about this. Bam! Not this one, by the way, not mine. Keep watching. Step 1. Paint the whole area with your reddish brown. In my case, gold grunta fur. Step 2. Add orange. I prefer doing stippling here because of the pattern and the different texture that we're gonna get with that. So just put your brush and just tap 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 on your miniature. This will create a model effect that will look much more natural. You can dry brush or use a sponge or paint in a more controlled way, but I don't. I just want to do it fast and this works. For this I'm gonna use Slayer Orange, which is an air color and works perfectly fine in here. We're gonna add some dark blue or purple in this same fashion, a little bit of stippling without going overboard. For the areas that you usually do edge highlights, just use a plain silver color, a bright one if possible. You should dry brush, very careful here, but then you should add some accents with your brush on a more controlled way. For this one, I use Runefang Steel. Remember, 4 steps. Reddish brown, orange, blue, and a metallic paint. That's it, nothing else. I told you it was easy. Clothes. I like the nostalgia ogres of yesteryear. Yes, nostalgia, you know me. If you don't, time to subscribe, by the way. Old ogre minis has these striped clothes with different patterns that make them look very dapper. I love that. I will go ahead and choose different combinations of colors that will make them look like pirates or something like that. I just paint the clothes with them in the stripes, being very careful with the line. After this is done, I will add some contrasting by glazing with different colors like Drakenhof Nightshade, using the recesses as the place to put those. I will highlight with pure white and glaze with a contrast or a wash just to make it look more natural and not too white. I am controlling the paint here. There are no crazy washes all over the place. This is a more controlled approach to painting because these big figures really benefit from that extra amount of control. I want to focus on the areas where light will naturally hit or shadows will remain. Zenithal priming does really help a lot with this, so I think this is probably the best approach to painting big miniatures. Notice how I before used the reddish brown to paint all the leather straps and whatnot? That will save us a lot of time. For these areas, just use a second layer of a different color, such as a darker brown or a black. Now, with a few touch-ups, the clothes are ready. It's time to work on the skin. You want your ogres to look remarkable. Because of the big areas with so much rust, you should maybe avoid natural flesh colors. This will make your miniature look like a blob of orange at a distance, and we don't want that. Up the hue and the contrast a little bit towards the pink or the purple. Magenta. Give the skin a watered down wash with Magus Purple. Highlight the areas hit by light now. Look at the areas where the light will be naturally hitting from above and paint those with white. You can do this very easily if you put a light on top of the miniatures, like so, and looking at where the shadows are. Easy, huh? So you can do this by zenithal priming or using a lamp like I just did. After these highlights have dried, use a watered down coat of Gilliman flesh all over the area. This wash must be toned down a little bit, either with water or a medium. We are trying to glaze over, not painting. Some extra details here go a long way. I retouched the lips, the veins, and I gave them a 5 o'clock shadow with some Drakenhof Nightshade. This will improve the look of your miniatures tremendously and is gonna make them look more rugged and attractive, mostly for female ogres. And after doing some cleanup and some small details like the teeth, the eyes, and etc., some green patina on the golden metallics, these ogres are now ready for the table. And now for the final surprise. Masters Ogres. I bought these guys some time ago because I really wanted to include ogres on my Warhammer quest. Remember, you can also use an ogre as a playing character on Warhammer quest. You can find the rules on Deathblow #1. Don't worry, I'm gonna put them on the screen if you want to see how to play with this character. Pause the screen if you want to see them. Battlemaster's ogres are big, but I love the sculpts. These old miniatures are my favorite plastic ogres from anything that Games Workshop has ever done. The gut plate, the Mongol helmet, the face. I love the miniatures and they lend themselves to be painted in very awesome ways. One of them I wanted to paint like the original one from Battlemasters. This is a Milton Bradley game from 1992, which is kind of like a Warhammer for noobs. If you can fetch yourself one, do it. Maybe in the future you might see how I paint one. Spoiler alert. The other one, on the other hand, I wanted to do a rescue. I don't know who painted this. If it's you, please leave a comment below because I really would like to know. I wanted to pay homage to whoever painted him and I just tried to do my version of the paint job that came with it. With these ogres, I did exactly the same as with the previous one with 2 different versions for the priming. After that is just painting with washes as usual. For the metals, we're gonna use a different approach here, a little bit more shinier, no rust, because I want to convey that Middle Hammer feel in here. And there was not much rust in Middle Hammer, like basically at all. Everything was shiny. The clothes, same as before, crisp, bold colors. Then I follow with the flesh. This will have the usual more down-to-earth approach for that. Use Gilliman flesh, water it down with medium, and start by painting the whole area with that. And then some highlights with bleach bone and white mixed together. These miniatures have a lot of surface and I think it's a pity if you don't use that to your advantage. want to make these guys stand out. You want them to awe your player. Make them awesome. You want your dungeon crawlers to grasp the attention of the people sitting around the table. You want to draw them to an era of fantasy adventures. Grimdark, it's awesome for Instagram. Here we go for the wow factor. So these are the results. Of course, there are many miniatures that you can use for your Heroquest, Advanced Heroquest, Warhammer Quest, Dungeoneers, Dungeon Universalis, all these other games that we have for dungeon crawlers. Do you want to know how to paint Imperial soldiers? What about checking out this video over here? This is Miguel signing out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Un beso. Adios.